Alright, hey guys, this is Shiny Zekrom, and I kinda screwed up the narration here because I chose the wrong, I didn't set my microphone in Bandicam, but yeah, I kinda forgot to do that, so I'm going to be post-narrating this. But yeah, so I am welcoming everyone back to another dungeon video, and yeah, this one is going to be in a dungeon called Tanren Mines. This is needed because this is a dungeon where you get one of the HMs you're going to need. So I recommend you bring something that, can get HM Rock Climb learned onto them by HM. Not by Egg Move, but by HM. Because you're going to need it later on, because there are a few dungeons you can access after getting Rock Climb. So yeah. Anyways, soon enough we'll be heading into the dungeon, but I recommend stuff like having a ghost, having Cloud 9, and getting something that can have rock climb. So, the main thing about Tanren Mines is it's not exactly a great training dungeon, and it's kind of just there for a few different purposes, which we'll talk about later. I do talk about the fact that today is, at least at the time that I'm recording this, today is PMU's 6th anniversary of being, PMU 7, which is really awesome. So, to start off, Tanren Mines, in terms of floors, is just 1 through 14. There's going to be a little bit of a stairs maze, which I'll talk about later once we get closer to the actual part itself. And after that, you will go to 15F and you go to 28F. Then you're going to face a Miniboss. Then you get your room with rock climb in it. And then you have to do a little bit of a quicksand and rock climb maze. And then you go 29 to 42. You face a boss. Then there's an end box room. And then that's really about it. So I was talking about some of the new gimmicks that came along with PMU in the time that I've last recorded. One of which is that flying types will not be affected by spikes. They will not be affected by toxic spikes either, except they will take the poison damage, but they will not take the damage of the initial trap itself. They will take the poison, but not the 10 damage of the toxic spikes. That's really awesome because it could help for events, certain events like Marathon Runner, as well as just overall dungeoning. I mean, think about that. Not being able to be hit by toxic spikes or spikes, that's amazing. This also works with Pokemon that have the ability Levitate as well. However, the same situation happens where if toxic spikes happen, they will still take the poison. Now, for some reason, we were getting very lucky in the beginning floors of being able to find these stairs. I mean, I was going 1 or 2 rooms, and then I was finding the stairs. But I know one of the floors eventually took me a little bit long. So, in the first 14 floors, nothing really major is there. It's just basically diamonds on the walls, diamonds dropped by Pokemon of their respective typing, except for some certain circumstances. And it's pretty much just a dungeon you just want a straightforward run through. There's nothing interesting except a few different recruits and something else which I'll get to a little bit later. Now, another thing that I did explain later on when I was narrating is another new feature that came to PMU since I last recorded were monster houses. These monster houses can appear on, honestly, any floor, really, except for some given circumstances where there might be keys involved or some other circumstances. So, with these monster houses, it will be a 10 by 10 room where the stairs are always the very bottom right tile. The Pokemon that appear in this will give 1.5 times their normal experience than they would if it wasn't a monster house floor. These monster houses also come with the thing that more Pokemon will be able to spawn in that monster house room than there would be normally throughout a regular floor. Now, as you kind of just saw, if you follow me along that path, you'll be able to get to the certain room that you need to reach in the stairs maze place that will take you on. Otherwise, you will have to face a little monster house of 16 Zubats. And yes, I said that correctly. 16 Zubats. Have fun with those. Let's just say confusion spam with confuse ray and just all sorts of different kind of fun. Now, like I said, nothing really interesting has happened yet, and then as you can kind of see in the video, I'm actually struggling with this Lairon because of dig, which really, I felt like an idiot for not being able to just, run past it and have a nice day, especially after I rested. But then, I think, I finally end up killing it, and I can get past. So, I'm kind of just waiting for a few floors later to be able to talk about one of the first things that Tanren Mines has in terms of interesting things that you actually want to come to the dungeon with. Of course, besides rock climb, because rock climb will be important. Because I did talk about early on in the video that there was a new place in Tanren that got released today on PMU's birthday. However, you do have to do this dungeon in order to get to it because, well, you need rock climb in order to be able to reach it. So this is why Tanren Mines could be important to do around this point. Now, in terms of levels for Tanren Mines, it's like a high 50s, low 60s kind of dungeon. But if you're prepared enough, you really won't see too much of a trouble. I mean, I'll just say a little earlier than the end of the video, but I will end up being able to make it through the dungeon very fine with a level 50 Salamence, and only died, I think, once or twice. But it was kind of expected that I would die at one point just because I am kind of in the 50s and I'm really doing underleveled. But, I don't know, I kind of just gained a spark to be able to do videos again, and yeah, so this was one of the first ones. There is, I think, one more dungeon that I will have to be doing first before I end up doing Tanren Mines. Tanren Mines, I just did that. Before I go to the Undercity, because I'll mention now, the Undercity's dungeons, I think, are within the 50s and 60s, so I think it could be possible for us to do. We would just have to be, of course, well prepared enough, and I do have to get at least a little bit of information in terms of these dungeons, because not much is very known about them, except for really their recruits, floor length, and maybe any bosses and mini-bosses that could be in the dungeon. So, yeah, it will take me a little bit to get those dungeons out, but there is one dungeon that I do think I will be recording before I end up going to this place, which is going to be called Deserted Tombs. It should be pretty quick because this is a dungeon where I'm not really going to... There's not much to it. There's just like a couple recruitables. There's also, I'll mention early, secret rooms, and there's like end boxes and a couple mini bosses and stuff to face. So it'll be kind of one of those quick videos to get out of the way, and I think I should do it just because it is accessible without rock climb. In fact, it's practically the same way you would go to Rustic Savannah, except taking one different turn. You don't need any HMs or anything to get to it, just like Rustic Savannah. So it's readily inaccessible to us right now. It's just I haven't done it because I felt rock climb would be a very necessary video because, of course, now that we got our next HM, we have a bunch more dungeons to be able to access with us. Now, I believe I am on 28 or 20F. No, I'm one floor away from being able to get to 20F. And 20F is the first floor that you're actually going to find something a little important. But I will explain that once we get to it, which I think in a couple of seconds I find the stairs. Yeah, I was very underprepared in terms of supplies in this dungeon. But there is, at one point, I'll mention a storage, which we will be able to use. So, yeah. Anyways, we hit 20F here, and I'll be searching around for it really quickly. But if any second I get to it, I know it's real quick. Right up there, there is a silk box chamber for this dungeon. This one is going to contain your iron silk, which is for your steel types. Besides that, there is, of course, Lumberry, Reviver Seed, Revival Herb, and your common, silk box items. But the silk you're going to need, the iron silk, is about a 20% chance from the box, so it'll be a fairly easy silk to obtain because, I'll hint a little bit earlier, there is going to be a second chamber within this dungeon, but I'll mention when it is later once we get to it. So, other than that, pretty much it's just, if you want to collect the diamonds, have a ghost type with you, and just have some open inventory like I did, but I didn't really pick many diamonds up, because if you pick up a lot of diamonds, your inventory is going to be very, very full by the end of it. I've went runs where I've had like 20 diamonds, and I really couldn't use any more supplies because I was going to run out if I, kept any more. Now, also between 15 and 27F, I didn't mention it until up to this point, there is a possibility of finding one specific type of secret room in this place. And yes, I said that correctly. There are multiple different kinds of secret rooms within this dungeon. There are 2 known secret rooms, and then there is one type of secret room that nobody's really found because besides rock climb and a few of the recruits, nobody really goes to this place to specifically hunt the secret rooms because, not much is known. The secret rooms, before they got a buff, were extremely rare. I think around a 1% chance of being able to find one. So, there's not much information known about the secret room boxes. I will say that there are diamonds within these boxes, and within the 15 to 27F secret rooms, there was a TM bulldoze found by one person. So, other than those two, if you guys find any different items in any of the secret rooms, if you could tell me, that would be very great. Whether it's in the comments or something or rather, even in game, just tell me, because I would like to be able to maybe try and add some secret room information into the wiki. But for now, that's pretty much all that's really known, is there's just diamonds, and then in the 15 to 27F secret room, there's bulldoze. Which, bulldoze can be very useful because it is a 2-tile AoE ground type, and quite a few different typed Pokemon learn it, so I wouldn't say it would be half bad to maybe go after, but there are going to be better places later on to hunt it, so I would really say not to sweat trying to find these secret rooms. But if you want to, it's your choice. Now, starting on either 23 or 24F, Hippowdons are going to spawn, which is why I recommended to bring Cloud9 into this place. Cloud9 becomes important because starting on 25F through 28F, at all times, you can find Hippopotas. Now, of course, with Hippopotas and Hippowdon come their ability Sandstream, which will, of course, set up the Sandstorm, and, of course, during Sandstorm, it can be a bit more difficult to be able to see anything in the place. Like, I do believe, this floor, it was supposed to happen, but we didn't, with us bringing Cloud9, we stopped it. And we found out, Hippowdon was our culprit to this, so, yeah. And for the EXP in this dungeon, it's decent, but I would say it's definitely not, like, training-worthy experience. Kind of just, if you can kill stuff to get it out of your way as you go along. Other than that, I really wouldn't recommend it. But on 27F and 28F, during dawn and day only, you can find Trapinch. The reason I really recommend bringing Cloud9 is, of course, Hippowdon and Hippopotas can spawn at all times of day. And if they set up the Sandstorm and there's a Trapinch on the floor, it's going to make it a lot more difficult to be able to see it. And there's also problems with Earthquake and Metal Burst around the dungeon that will also kind of screw up your chances of being able to recruit that Trapinch. So if you see one, take as many precautions as possible. Knock out any Pokemon that might be around it or might be in the area of it, because you don't want it dying. Like, right there, here's a perfect example. The Golem right there was spamming Earthquake, and if that Earthquake hits Trapinch, if it actually hits, it's most likely going to die in one hit, and there's no chance of you being able to go back to that Trapinch. Alright, so after 28F, we finally reached the mid-boss, and I was kind of speaking the dialogue, but kind of having to post-narrate this. I can't exactly see the text very well, but if it's not kind of shown by who's standing in the background on the game itself, our mini-boss is going to be Nidoqueen and Nidoking. These two pretty much have the same exact drop in 1 or 2 tiny mushrooms, as well as Nidoqueen has a chance of dropping a black sludge, which will recover your HP a little bit if you're poison type, otherwise it will hurt you. Now, here is the first death that we had, and like I said, it was going to be expected because I am going into this dungeon with a level 50, so I kind of knew what I'm getting myself into, but I really did want to get this video out because it was long time overdue, and I just got that passion to start making videos again. Now, of course, here we did get 2 tiny mushrooms, so I mean, tiny mushrooms aren't ever a bad thing to get because, you know, being able to relearn moves that you might have missed by accident or might get at level 1, they're helpful. But after this, once we get through the whole dialogue and everything, we can finally get our HM Rock Climb in the upcoming room we have. And this is also upcoming where our storage is going to be. So, if you know you might be using a lot of supplies, it might be a smart idea to go to a shop and buy as many supplies as you can, and then store a few of them in the storage, and then, of course, you could pick them up once you reach this point in the dungeon, and then, yeah, even if you forgot to bring, like, a silver key or something, this might be a good place to pick them up. Hint, hint. Now, of course, alongside this, there is a little bit of a maze that's going to be upcoming as well. So as long as you follow what I do in the video, it's not as much of a difficult maze here. Now, it's the quicksand puzzle here. You just take the tiny one there, you head up right there, and there's your HM Rock Climb. Now, as I said, it is going to be important that you have something that can get this, because if you want to go to the deepest part of the dungeon, you are going to need HM Rock Climb in order to get to it. So yeah, this is one of the parts that you'll need Rock Climb for, but as I've said, there's a few other places that we can go to now. For example, one of them, now that we have Rock Climb, we actually have access to the last dungeon we haven't done in Expel, which this one I am going to need at least one other person for, so most likely I will be collabing with Richard G for this at some point, so we can get that dungeon recorded, so we can show you guys what's in there and be able to show anything significant about the place, as well as, you know, finally getting the last dungeon Expo done, so that way we can just focus on the other regions that we have, because of course there's one whole region where still I think not, or at least to me, I'm not even close to wanting to visit yet, which hopefully upcoming I'll be able to maybe do some more of these videos and get through some of these places quickly, so maybe we could try and get to it. Now, of course, I will mention the place that came out with PMU today on its birthday is, I guess, considered a little bit of a new region, and there's a few dungeons to it, but I don't know if I'd really call it a new region, per se. Anyways, here's the perfect example. After you take the very first warp to get through, you are going to need the Rock Climb quite a way. You are going to need a mixture of Rock Climb and a mixture of taking the correct quicksand pits that are here. So, like I said, as long as you follow what I do in the video, you'll be able to get through this really quickly. Even though I do screw up, I think, once or twice. Like, right here I know I do. Hit the wrong one. And then I hit the wrong one again. Then I finally hit the right one, and this is the halfway point. Now, after this, just of course Rock Climb up over in that section, and then go all the way to the back. That's your first of only 2 movements you have to do. After that, take that sand pit, and what a lot of people miss is the rock climb point that's right there. After you take that up, there's the part to the deepest part of this dungeon. Now, of course, as dungeons go on, it's going to get more difficult, so this part can be a bit more difficult, as some Pokemon, as believed by players, had a little bit of a buff to their stats where they were just a bit stronger than they would normally be at levels. I think that whole situation is out of the way now, so you won't be seeing that anymore. But I can't be completely certain about that, but yeah. So, on these floors, it's just a couple floors of just kind of running around, and then there is going to be a scenery change upcoming. And as you kind of saw a little bit earlier, I did go in the stores and grab supplies, because I came in extremely unprepared, having only like 1 apple, 1 big apple, and a huge apple, and I think that was it. And I had like maybe 2 or 3 max elixirs, and that was it. But yeah, that part's mainly just for diamonds and stuff. And then we hit 33F, and the scenery changes. At 33F, this is the start of the, what was I going to say? This is the start of secret rooms again. This is the second known kind of secret room. And again, these boxes, all that's really known to be in them are diamonds of varying types. Not even sure what diamonds, because again, nobody really comes to this dungeon to specifically find secret rooms. So, again, if you have any information on these secret rooms, please comment below so I can maybe try and add them to the wiki and hopefully get some correct information. Now, there is a recruit on these higher floors, but we're not exactly there yet. But we will be getting close pretty soon. If I get to the correct floor I am thinking of... Oh yeah, and here's where I think I was talking about the secret rooms before, but I'm not entirely sure. However, 36F... then we go 37F, here it is. So starting on 37F, you have a chance in the walls of seeing TM Earthquake. It is visible in the walls, and I would definitely keep an eye for it, and this is another reason why I recommend bringing the Ghost, because not only the diamonds in the wall, but later on, of course, there's TM Earthquake in the walls, and it's a very ranged move, so it can definitely help out. So, at this point, it's just kind of running a few more floors before I get to the next thing I want to talk about. I think... Oh yeah, I did actually miss that I was talking about in the video was another new feature that was implemented is the gummy system. The gummy system is not like the IQ system that are in the actual PMD games. So if you think that's how it's going to work, I'm sorry to inform you, but that is not how it works. How it actually works is, if you use the gummy, you get a boost to certain stats, and if you are a specific type, these stats that get boosted will get boosted a little bit higher than if the Pokemon you ate it with is not of that type. And it'll also give you a random bonus effect, such as being able to see all the hidden items on the floor, being able to walk over all types of terrain without having your belly fall, reveal all the traps on the floor, and it can be very helpful. I will link a guide to the whole gummy system later in the description, but right there we were talking about the Silk Chamber. This is the second one of the dungeon, so that's kind of why I hinted to the silver keys, because yes, you have 2 chances of getting the Iron Silk, and the boxes pretty much have the same items. One other thing I missed, that we're almost at the end of the dungeon though, but the one thing I did miss really quick is 40 through 42F at any time of the day, except for day itself, you can find Sandile on these floors as a recruit. This is the only place you're going to be able to find Sandile, so if you want Sandile, this is where you're going to have to come. Tanren Mines 40 to 42F during all times except for day. And another thing I forget to mention as well, throughout the dungeon, you can find escape ropes laying out on the floor. This is probably one of the best ways that you can hunt escape ropes, because escape ropes, another thing that got added about them was escape ropes will work even if the last wind setting has been reached. So if it says it's getting closer and then it's about to blow you out, your escape rope can actually save you from that. So that's why it can be a very important thing to grab them. As you kind of see, I grabbed one right there. That's why escape ropes have become a lot more useful than they used to be. I mean, saving yourself from even wind if you can't get past a certain dungeon floor or something because you're having difficulty with it. Having escape rope will all be handy. I found, I believe, 3 of them throughout the dungeon. Now, next up, we are going to fight against the boss. The music was very nice here. Alright, so the boss of the dungeon of Tanren Mines is none other than Regirock. Now, Regirock has a few different drops to him, one of which being another new feature that was added to PMU, summonable legendaries. How this works is if you get a mystery part, which is in a dungeon at a 99F ending, which we haven't done yet, which hopefully I'll be doing some videos on that dungeon as well. But I want to get to that dungeon with the mystery part maybe after Tanren Chambers. Now, Regirock can drop an item called the Regirock Heart Slate. This Heart Slate fuses with the mystery part for 100k in a different region. And if you do this by fusing the slate with the mystery part, you will be able to summon a legendary in a dungeon. It will be the highest level of whatever you have in your party, and you need an open slot for this to work. Once you summon that legendary, you can walk around only in the dungeon as that Pokemon. After that, no more of it. And the mystery part that you have in your inventory, you have to bring that along and use it. You can select whatever legendary you want, and after that, you can be that legendary, but the mystery part will go away, and that legendary you summoned will go away after the dungeon. Now, Regirock has 3 different drops to him. He has a Rock Diamond, he has his Heart Slate that I was talking about, and the Tiny Mushroom, which the Tiny Mushroom and the Rock Diamond are going to be the 2 most common drops that Regirock has. But of course, you can still get that Heart Slate, which even if we don't have a mystery part at this point, it would still be nice if we get a Heart Slate, so that way maybe we can have a legendary help us later on in a dungeon, and that could maybe show off that mechanic, because in the dungeon I'm talking about where you get the mystery part, I'm going to be doing a few different runs of it. So, yeah, look forward to it. Now, we get to the end of the dungeon here, we beat Regirock, so at this point we have completed Tanren Mines, but we do have one more thing that the mining team that got lost down here, that Nidoqueen and Nidoking were talking about. There is an end box at the end. This end box can actually be very important for a couple of different reasons. So the end box items that are included in this are Ground Dust, Rock Dust, Dawnstone, Shiny Stone, an Escape Rope, a Nugget, and some TMs that include TM Earthquake. Yes, so you can get it 2 different methods within Tanren Mines. TM Giga Impact, TM Stone Edge, and what's going to be, in my opinion, the most important thing you're going to need from these end boxes is a TM Dig. I will not say where you need Dig, but you will need Dig on one of your Pokemon if you want to do a later dungeon. Again, I'm not going to say which one this is, but trust me, TM Dig is going to be a very important thing. Now, before this video ends, I'd also like to mention that Licky Licky's service has also changed a little bit. Not only does he cleanse your items now, but if you have any grimy foods, he will ungrimy them for you now. So Licky Licky's service is definitely a lot more useful than it used to be. So if you have grimy foods, don't waste your recycled PP or don't waste a recycled orb. Use Licky Licky, because he will do that for you now. anyways, in the box, we ended up getting a TM dig, so I'm very happy about it because now we won't have to hunt it in Tanren Tunnel or the end box of Tanren Mansion. Tanren Mines. So, yeah. Here, I was just going over the whole Licky Licky and how it changed. So, yeah, lots of new features, including the monster houses, the gummy system, and being able to get rock climb now, and all this new stuff. It's just, a lot of stuff's been coming out recently. Yeah, this is pretty much all of the information I have to give about Tanren Mines. So, like I said earlier in the video, we will not be covering the Tanren Undercity, which is the new place, just yet. We are going to head to most likely deserted tombs in the next video. So I will see you guys then.